Audio's good. Daniel's saying audio's good, so.
Neat.
Got everything?
Yeah.
Be interested to see how this works, because that one I have aimed right at you, but it should pick up all of us. And so even if Tim and I aren't super close to our mics at some point in time, like if we move around like that, hopefully it.
You just want to get
Hopefully
close
it
to me,
catches
don't
up.
you?
That's
Yeah,
the goal
definitely.
in life.
Yeah.
All right, get one more quick adjustment here, and then I can do the official introduction. Make sure that that's not going to tip over. Spill my coffee. Do all that. Good to go. Welcome everybody to the Genus Brewing live stream. This is a live stream that we do every single Sunday morning at 8:45 a.m. in the morning. And today we are joined by Matt. What's your last name? Weiser. I need that. He does Bear Puncher Brewing. I need a hat to match according to my wife. That's really cool. And if you haven't been here before, kind of the format that we go on is some Genus Brewing news to start off with, and then we break down into a style of the week where we give you our favorite malt, hops, and week's yeast to talk about that beer in the style of the week. And then we go into two discussion topics. And today we are talking about weird beer holiday pairings, and we are talking about sugar adjuncts that you might not normally expect. And while I go print out our outline real quick, Tim's going to introduce Matt, and then he's going to talk about some Genus Brewing news.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Well, this is Matt Weiser. He's a home brewer. He comes into our shop quite often, also in Spokane. Last year, he tried to get a coffee beer brewing project going, but unfortunately, COVID, so we just drank it. It was delicious, by the way. But he also makes a lot of beers geared towards holidays and with a couple of different ingredients in them that you don't normally do, or to mimic different styles, like cookies and things like that. That was pretty delicious. Persimmon, that was actually a really nice flavor in there. I've had a persimmon sour before, but not the
Yeah, actually, I have them over here. I brought them today as well.
Oh, nice. So we got that. There he is in all his glory. Matt, all right. Genus Brewing news. Well, sorry, you were going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say the coffee project with them was not just with Genus Brewing Company. I somehow managed to convince 7 breweries around town to partner with me to make coffee beers, which I brought the last of one of a coffee IPA I did with one of the breweries as well. And hopefully this year, more breweries, I'm going to be doing tea-infused beer with them. And the whole goal is trying to force breweries to do something outside of their comfort zone. So I pretty much told none of them they could do coffee stouts except for the brewery that does nothing but sweet stouts.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's kind of what I do, and for fun, there is I like looking at weird ingredients in beer and how to do that. So no, there's the reason I don't love the Will It Brew, which you guys should definitely go watch on the Genus Not Brewing channel.
Yeah, if you have not watched the newest Will It Brew, definitely do it. We made some octopus beers. They were quite delicious. All right. Yeah, Frazzled Penguin. Yeah, it is a little bit lower. We'll see if we can turn that up a little bit, but we don't want to overwhelm the middle mic because it's also picking up me and Imaginary Peter. Genus Brewing news. Here we go. We're running out of beer. March has been awesome. A little bit different from normal. A lot of more people have been coming out. Nicer weather definitely helps that out. Here in Washington, we're going to move to phase 3, 50% pretty darn soon. And what that means is that there are far more people coming in than we have had in quite a while. And because we like to keep everything so fresh, we're running out of beer, and we need to make some pretty darn quickly, which means we turn to our trusty friend Quake. We have a couple of different Quake IPAs going on right now. Lutra is actually great for a West Coast IPA if you want to pump one out real fast. And I think we got done brewing with it. You didn't turn that off?
Working on it.
Come on, son.
One of these days I'll be in the live stream.
One of these days. We started that, got done with it Wednesday, and it'll probably be going into kegs maybe Monday. That was less than a 7-day ferment, all the way done, tasting delicious. The other one is going to be a sour milkshake IPA because we love those. We need more of them on tap. We have new shirts up on our website. They are, did we get some done for Genus Brewing or just Not Brewing?
Both.
Both. Nice.
The Genus Brewing one, not Brewing ones are currently up, and the Genus Brewing ones will be up probably by the end of the day.
Yeah. So by the end of the day or tomorrow, go buy some new shirts. Also, Damon really loves animals.
They are limited release. These are going to be shirts that are kind of just special to some project that we're working on right now. But they're going to have cool designs that are very different than just our normal logo on a design. And they're going to be specific to something that goes into a video. Does that crooked tap handle in the background bugging anybody else?
Oh, yeah. Why did you point that out? Now it's bugging me.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the next thing... Oh, wow. Start that over. That was a failure. Totally. Let me have a drink of water. I'll come back to you. All right. Next thing up is a new beer on tap. We got our Belgian Strong Dark on. This thing is stupid awesome. When I originally gave it to Peter to try it... Ooh. Pour a small one so Matt can try it.
Yes, please.
First time I gave it to Peter, he was like, "Oh, who dropped off the aged bottle for us?" And I'm like, that's ours. So that felt good. Big monster, 13% of a beer. It presents all kinds of dark, deep fruit going in there. A lot of like Bing type of cherry, leather, deep figginess, a little bit of raisiny. It's pretty awesome. Pretty stoked about this. And also really just want it. I mean, I want it all in my face right now, but I also want it to be like a year old, so it'll be so much better.
Yeah,
so
that's tasting really good already, but it's definitely, another year it's going to get even better. It's one of those things about 13% beers. You get into the 11, 12%, and it's like, yeah, a year's probably good. When you get up to 13%, it's like, all right, 2 years is like where it hits that peak. Just gets better.
That is just
that's nice, right?
Yeah, it's only a couple of months old right now. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a little bit too young, but unfortunately Darwin's Dilemma Blue, and we are completely out of that guy.
Nope, we got a keg in the back.
We do?
Yep.
I thought I took it all from... Okay, well,
yeah.
I stand corrected.
We're going to have some more Darwins coming on soon.
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
Also, Sundays will be our video blitz. I'm learning about this right now, but what that I think will mean is that Peter has plans to just film a poop load.
A coop load.
A coop load.
Yeah, a mini Cooper load.
A mini Cooper load.
A whole car that's a very small car full of videos on Sundays. What that means is we are going to try to get out a video. Obviously, our live streams are on Sundays, and then get at least one video film that can be published later that week on the main channel, and at least one video that can be filmed that can be put out later that week on our second channel. And if we have time, we will also use that day to start some sort of a grain to glass, kind of like we do the best IPA possible, kind of those kind of videos too. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be the videos where we try to get everything done. That way we can just give Ryan a lot of work in the middle of the week, and we can get some videos out for you more consistently.
Did you put any of the Belgian Strong in barrels?
Not yet.
No. Actually, we did not, but we did put or do one keg that was filtered over brandy-soaked oak.
Oh.
So that one is at least going to spend a year before we tap into it. We don't actually have a lot of space for a barrel program here, unfortunately, on the scale that we would love to do it. So what almost all of our barrels are dedicated to doing mixed firm sour long age beers, because we like those a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Adam Chumbley has zero clue how to like this video from an iPhone. He has the dumb. Well, that's a terrible condition. Basically, you do have to be logged in with a Gmail account, though. So, yeah, that's it.
Thank you for reminding me to like the video myself.
Yeah, I would do it too, but I'm not logged in on this. Everyone liked the video. Thanks for the reminder, Adam. All right, that is it for our Genus Brewing News, which means it's time for our
Beer of the week, bum bum bum. Beer of the week. That was my good.
It's the first time I haven't had to remind everybody.
Yeah, well, my wife made fun of me.
Watch every Sunday.
Yeah, Jake had it last week too because he watches on Sundays too. We appreciate that. All right, and the beer of the week this week is going to be a Grisette. Grisette's a really fun table beer, and basically a table beer is any beer that you can drink all day without being under the table by the end of it.
Yeah. Grisette, you might be asking yourself, what is this? I might not have heard it before. A Grisette is a table version of a Saison, basically. They developed in Belgium, obviously, and they were the working version. As we know, Saisons can get a little alcoholic sometimes, and you don't need drunk people working on farm equipment. So what you drank all day was the Grisette.
Yeah, and so it's basically a mini saison. So saisons have a big range, and so Grisette's gonna have a pretty wide range as well. But on average, they're gonna be on the lighter side, and they are gonna be lower alcohol. Being a lower alcohol base, that means typically they're gonna be less funky or have less of a funky top end than a saison. Some saisons can be pretty neutral, but some of them can also get pretty funky, and that would be atypical of a Grisette because you want it to be one of those drink all day style beers. For our malts of the week for this, I wrote down high protein wheat. I meant high protein Pilsner, but I guess either one of those would work. If you want to learn about some high protein malts, it would be great in a Grisette. Refer back to our video that we did with Teddy from the Grain Shed, where he talked about a lot of landrace grains, and he gave examples of some grains that are landrace that are very high protein but would be perfect in this.
Yeah. And the grain bill, I mean, for a Grisette should include both of those, have that nice high protein. Again, because you're drinking this while working, you want all of that good protein to keep you going.
That's right.
Along with that, we got some spalt on there.
Spalt hops are going to be a traditional noble style hop. Noble style hops, they're always going to take a background. In a Grisette, you can actually use hops from the French region, from the Belgian region, or from the German region, or even UK. Any of those hops are going to be appropriate as long as they are these lower alpha acid, lower flavor threshold, but typically more grassy style of hops. So nothing that's going to be a big mosaic or a lot of the New World hops, even something like Cascade would be technically inappropriate, although I think that probably tastes pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say that it sounds good.
Yeah,
it'll get a little bit of that citrus on the spice. That could be really nice. I could honestly see something like Mount Hood going really well because of that too.
Challenge to all of you out there, do a dry hopped Grisette and send it to me.
Yes.
I was going to say that's what I'm going to be doing next.
Yeah, and then bring it in. Also, one thing in Spalt, I mean, Spalt is a great hop. I love Spalt. It is a little bit less used than I think it should be. For a noble hop, though, it has a little bit more aggressive spice. Mm-hmm. And I love that. If you are making an alt beer and you really want to make a proper alt beer, it's kind of in my head, you almost need to use Spalt hops for that. Because there's a flavor you just don't get from other hops.
Yep.
Also, use it because it's different than Saaz, and you should be using other noble hops too.
I kind of get bored of Saaz. Like I love Saaz, and a Czech Pilsner needs it, but I do kind of get bored of Saaz. I feel like I just see it in every beer style that was made before the 1900s. They were like, throw Saaz at it.
And it's I also think it's one of those things that a lot of home brewers get stuck into it because Saaz is so revered. And I mean, it should be. It's a great hop, but it's so revered. People throw it in things that it shouldn't honestly be in because they're like, oh, I can put this great noble hop Saaz that's going to be better than Stressel Spalt or even Spalt. And you're like, well, you're right. In a Pilsner, that is better. But in this beer, you could have used that extra floralness from the Stressel Spalt or the extra spiciness from the Spalt.
Yeah.
I'm just happy I don't pick out my own hops when I come in here anymore.
We make fun of you after you leave. Don't worry about it.
Well, you guys usually just throw hops at me and say, put this into a beer.
Yeah, that's how you should go.
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Your beer's better for it.
Yeah, it is.
As for the yeast of the week, I just said farmhousey. I'm not going to say French Saison or Belgian Saison. I would steer clear of Belgian Saison if I'm being 100% honest. If you use French Saison, I do like the idea of doing some sort of a mixed firm with this. But pretty much anything that's going to be farmhouse. You can use Rose Alaire blend, and then you can have a beer that's just going to age out well. It's going to be good in a month. It's going to be good in 9 months. It's going to be different beers in those two time frames, but it's going to be a beer that's going to continue developing. And I love the idea of doing something that's farmhousey with this style of beer.
Yeah, or even co-pitching it with some Britannia-Myces or finishing it out to get ridiculously dry with a little bit of that leather horse blankety bread on the very end.
Yep.
That would be really nice. It would be appropriate, too, because of where these beers developed. Definitely Brett would have been in them. But because the beer is so small, you're never really going to go into those huge Brett flavors. You're just going to get that nice light funk on the end. I like that. Who was it? White Yeast has a farmhouse blend that has bread in it that's really nice.
Yeah.
Omega's is good too, but you got to ferment that sucker hot. We did a little bit too cold. There wasn't enough expression. Ferment it warmer than we did.
Definitely. I like those at like 85, or at least starting at 70 and then working up to 85. It's my favorite way to do them. Just a couple quick shout outs real quick. The apartment brewer The apartment brewer is currently turned on. So if you hear that, whatever that Pornhub sound is, in his apartment, I'm guessing that's happening.
There you go.
That's took a turn, guys.
That did. That did.
It was fantastic. It was like watching a train wreck, but only one person was getting hurt. So you're like, it was kind of his fault. I'm going to watch. But
I was going to say it's American's Funniest Home Videos.
There we go. Shout out to Reverend. He wants a shout out, so you get one. I mean, it's forced. It's not sincere, but you got one.
Yeah.
Hey, chat, what you all are drinking this morning. So Matt is currently drinking our Belgian Dark Strong that we talked about earlier. And then I actually poured, this is a beer from Hello Beer because we ran out of IPAs, and so I bought a beer from them. And it is their double IPA. It's kind of a West Coast style double IPA. So
that is such a good beer.
Yeah, nice and dank, pungent. It's got a little bit of citrus going on behind it. There's a lot of flavor. And it's nice to have an IPA on since we ran out.
Yeah.
I was going to say, given the fact that you can slap IPA on anything in LSL.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the reason that we do it. We do it because, we want to make our customers happy, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's, you know what I'm also appreciating about this beer is there is a muted late and high-end high note biscuit, but it is so small and reserved.
That it goes well with the dankness, the pungence.
Yeah. It doesn't taste like you're drinking frickin' biscuits because somebody put like 10% of Victory Malt in there like a noob.
Person. Like a person.
Don't do that. If you're that person, don't do that.
Can y'all recommend a third hop that would go well to a Zaka Amarillo and a West Coast IPA?
Yeah. Well,
Columbus?
I was going to say Columbus is a good one.
I was actually going to throw out some Hyarillo, too, if you can get a hold of that. Hyarillo goes really nice with the Azaka.
Some people are saying Eldo. Eldo to me is a little bit too fruity, maybe, but it's always it's good. It's a good hop.
Yeah, that will take it out of the West
Coast.
Coast.
You want that bite? Throw some Chinook in there.
Chinook. Yes.
Classic.
Galena. Galena would go really good with that, too. That's a hop that gets overlooked a lot, especially for West Coast or pale ales.
I can't think of that without going, Galena from Avalor.
Yeah, well, that's a good show. So, that's a good show. All right.
Let's go on to topic number one. Topic number one is we wanted to go a little bit abstract because we want to kind of break away from typical, hey, let's dive deep into a topic and go broad today and talk about a lot of different styles of beers that you might not think to brew, and hopefully we can inspire you to make something new and or fun. So we're going to go beer pairings with holidays.
Ooh, do we have any of these ones over there? No, because those are just the cookie ones.
Those are all cookie inspired. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
We could go in reverse and we can grab one of those and then be like, what holiday would this beer pair with?
Or we could just drink those while talking about holiday beer.
That works too.
All right. So
I was gonna say they are bottle conditioned, so there is always the chance that they might be a little geysery.
That's fine.
We'll just aim it right at the camera.
That's right.
Yeah. I like to give that heads up is if you're bottling only and doing bottle condition, switch to kegs.
Yeah.
That is, as someone who that's all I do is the bottle, switch to kegs. I'm just gonna give that call out right now. Makes your life 10 times easier.
That said, definitely easier. But that said, there are some beers that just naturally taste better in bottles, and so it's there's definitely some beers that taste better in kegs. Did I understand that correctly? Are you allowed to serve beer from another brewery in your shop? That's not allowed here in Manitoba, Canada. Yeah, we can serve. Actually, so there's a law in Washington that says even as a taproom license, you can serve up to 25% guest taps. So it's beer from other breweries, anything like that. But we are also licensed as a restaurant here, and a restaurant, even if they're a brewery as well, can serve whatever. I can have 100% guest taps if I wanted. So there's that. So the first holiday that we're going to talk about our favorite beer pairing with is going to be Easter. So when you think Easter, let me know in the comments right now what holiday you think Easter, what beer you think Easter goes well with. Goes well with Easter. That's what I meant. One of those words. Yeah. Easter beer. Put that in your brain. In my mind, when I think Easter, my first thought is brunch, because Easter kind of goes with brunch. Obviously, there's the holiday Easter. Growing up as a kid, you've got a lot of candy and chocolate in the morning, so that's a different way to think of Easter. And I also think just kind of it's springtime. It's a nice time to enjoy, some nice spring weather. And so there's kind of 3 different spots my brain goes to when I think Easter. And there's 3 different ways that I think you could pair beer with that. So you have the Easter candy beer pairing. You have the I'm going out to brunch because it's Easter beer pairing. Yeah. And you have the nice spring beer because Easter is a good remembrance of spring. So what do you guys think would go with those kind of in those ranges?
For me, honestly, I'm going to bring up a style that the BJCP used to recognize, doesn't anymore, and not enough people do it. Bière de Mars. We are drinking Matthew's Persimmon Ale. Bière de Mars, actually. I really love Bière de Mars. I love to see these French beers come back, but what a Bière de Mars is kind of the reverse of a Bière de Garde, where Bière de Garde is generally brewed in the fall and then reserved until the spring. Bière de Mars is made in the spring and reserved into the fall, but it has a nice... It's reserved until the fall, but you drink it in the spring, all right? Leave me alone. It's a really nice, light version of a Bière de Garde, basically. A little bit lighter. It has a little bit more malt to it to last up to the cold weather, and I love this beer. It also kind of goes with Saison, too, because, it's a farmhouse ale.
Yeah. I was going to say, for me, my mind went immediately to some sort of sour, because... it wasn't the chocolate, it was the jelly beans and the the very fruited candies growing up that so my mind went to, hey, let's get a nice kind of fruited sour there, especially since a lot of the fruited sours are easy drinking, and especially with brunch and stuff, you get with the different jams and stuff. That. So that's where my mind went.
I like the jelly. I forgot about the jelly beans that you get. I think Peeps and I think chocolate, but then I forgot every time you go Easter egg hunting, if your parents were poor like my parents were, most of those little eggs that you find were filled with jelly beans instead, and you got the 2 that were filled with a nice chocolate or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you just get a wide selection and just do a beer hunt.
Yeah,
Easter
that's
beer
right.
hunt.
Easter beer hunts are the favorite. A lot of people are saying Saison, and that was actually my choice because I think spring with that. But I'm also going to throw out micheladas just because I love micheladas recently for a brunch beer. We got a lot of people saying farmhouse ales. I think that goes well. I think we're all in kind of the same,
I actually really like Daniel's suggestion, a Belgian Tripel Beer Mosa. Yes.
Yes, I like that.
Absolutely, that one right there. Let's do it.
I love that idea.
Yeah. All right.
What would Jesus drink? I like it's a good one for Easter. Your first day out. What's your beer you're going to, You're Jesus. Your first day out. Let's go for 4th of July. What beers do you think of with 4th of July? So when I think 4th of July, I think, standard... you're not very good at barbecuing, but you still go do a barbecue. So you've got all the pre-made hot dogs, like the frozen hamburger patties.
That's grilling, not barbecuing.
Yeah, but that's what I think of when I think of 4th of July. That's how. Yeah. I don't know how you grew up, but that's
a frozen hockey puck, a hamburger on there that is just slightly amazingly delicious.
With melted American cheese on it.
It doesn't even melt. American cheese doesn't melt. Damn it!
No. It just sinks onto the burger.
It just
it just changes consistency. It doesn't it doesn't. Yeah. It's. But.
I mean, okay. So 4th of July, that's an all-day celebration. You're eating pretty actually strong flavored food generally in that. That's got to be something light. Actually, I mean, I think honestly, Grisette would be really good in this one. Yeah. I would also go for Gosa. Gosa is probably going to be my choice on the 4th of July, just because it's light, it's salty, it's tart, which I love sour things. I love sour things. And you can also get a bunch of different flavors in there. It keeps you going, basically, and you can drink it all day. So
I'm a session IPA because that's actually what I brew for my family and family friends every 4th of July is with lemon and lime.
Oh, nice.
They're just that really nice, again, easy drinking, but as you mentioned, a lot of stronger kind of flavors in the foods and stuff, and so the little bit of hop to cut through that.
The extra acidity. I feel like that's kind of like your beer becomes the pickle on a cheeseburger, like that thing will give you that extra... Yeah.
Definitely.
Nice. I like that idea. A lot of people are saying a lot of light stuff. I actually put pre-prohibition lager. Because 4th of July, Independence, it kind of reminds me, and it's in that light lager range, but you get that high adjunct little proteininess from the 6 row. Typically, I just use high protein Pilsner malt. The apartment brewer says West Coast IPAs, which I agree, the same kind of vibe as you, Matt.
Yeah.
Like, that strong flavor to cut through all the grilling. We'll call it the grilling food.
The grilling food.
Not the barbecue food.
I'm sure some of you barbecue too, but
I was gonna say the place I go to every year, they usually have some barbecue going too. So
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people are in that same light beer. Anything sessionable. We got cream ale. People saying wheat beer, Kolsch, Czech Pils. A lot of people saying that. Hazy Harry says a fresh brewed hazy IPA. Nice. A Martzen for the 4th.
I appreciate that. That's honestly pretty darn good, but that might get a little heavy after a while.
Yeah. It kind of goes with the beef theme of the hamburger, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe I could see that.
I mean, I would definitely drink one all day long, or a Vienna lager. I mean, I'd just crush the shit out of that. But yeah.
Kevin says Roush beer. No need to bring the smoker. We have Roush beer for a different holiday. So
yeah,
let's keep on moving.
It wouldn't be Roush beer. Like somebody said earlier, an American adjunct lager full of sulfur would probably be better, and then you wouldn't know the difference between that and the fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, St. Patrick's Day. All right, we're not going to go with the stout. That's just way too stupid.
St. Patrick's Day. Everyone guesses, that dry Irish stout. I'm going to throw green beers off the table, so you can't go.
That's not
lagers.
an Irish beer. Damn it, green. I'm not going to get on that. All right.
That's not a soapbox you're willing to jump on right now.
Well, you know what?
I
don't
do
need
red
to.
beer. Like I love red food coloring because it also messes with people the next day. So if you get a lot of red food coloring in your beer, it definitely comes out red.
I was going to say it messes with me in like an hour because I'm allergic.
No.
Yeah.
It's a red dye. So
there we go. But for all honesties there, St. Patrick's Day, what I'm going to go with this actually is kind of a flip between an Irish pale ale, well, I shouldn't say pale ale, an Irish pub beer, so it'd probably be closer to something like mild or bitter.
Yeah.
And then actually an Irish lager as well. Both of those, I absolutely love both of those. I mean, Smithwick's, properly made things like Smithwick's, absolutely love. Can crush them all day long. Super, super delicious. Love the flavor on that. Definitely better.
I'm going to go with an ESB because, again, Similar Bow is one of those ones I can just drink all day.
It's a pub beer, too.
Yeah, and just enjoy. And actually making a good ESB is, I found, really difficult.
It is.
So when I can find a good ESB, I do want to just drink it all day.
Oh,
nice.
God,
I like that.
A properly made ESB.
We got some people saying Shandy. Probably my favorite comment so far is a Lucky Charmed Mash Hazy IPA. Love that.
Yeah.
It's traditional Irish food that you're putting into beer, so I'm always liking that.
Definitely.
Somebody saying beets. I love beets for a red food coloring, basically, but they do get really earthy. But sometimes if I'm thinking Irish, I'm thinking earthy. So maybe that would work. And then the apartment brewer said, obviously, 100% crystal malt red beer. Love it. Got to do it.
Got to do it.
I did go with a standard red ale, and I went with an American red ale instead of an Irish red. A lot of people think you got to brew an Irish red for St. Patrick's Day, but when I'm thinking St. Patrick's Day, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking corned beef. I'm thinking cabbage. I'm thinking potatoes. I'm thinking a lot of hearty, heavy, earthy foods, and I need the hops from an American red ale to kind of shine through those. Whereas I think if I were drinking an Irish red ale, it's better if I'm not eating food with it. But St. Patrick's Day to me is a food day. And so I need the hops to kind of shine through. If I'm drinking an Irish red ale, it's going to be too sweet. You're going to get too much fruit esters that are going to come through, and it's going to weigh down my palate with all the food.
And for me, an Irish red is typically more of a fall into early winter beer because of the maltiness in it.
Yeah.
And some of the not sugar sweetness, but malt sweetness that can be accompanied with that. That's going to be really heavy on all those, traditional Irish foods and you don't want it. You want to spring back in there. That's kind of why I like the idea of the Irish lagers in there. Yeah. Somebody did ask what makes it an Irish lager. You're using Irish ingredients. There is actually Irish malting company. We got their stout malt as well as their lager malt from them.
Is that the malt? That stout malt's the one I used in my Irish stout, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Which actually, I need to bring that in. That turned out fairly well.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, there is a difference.
I like how you didn't say amazing. You're like, that turned out fairly well.
Well, I was going to say, as all the homebrewers out there could probably equate, worst critic. You're your own worst critic. And The amount of time it's like, this beer is garbage, and then I hand it to these two, and they're just like, no, this is actually really good.
Yeah. You're always your own worst critic. But anyway, yeah, it comes from those local ingredients on there. They do make a difference on it.
There's a slight funkiness from yeast that can come through too sometimes. It's just like not that crisp, clean, dry tinniness of an American. It's not that banana fruitiness of a German lager. It's its own breed.
Yeah. Yeah, if you lined it up with a bunch of others, you might have a hard time picking it out. But it's delicious. Drink some. Find it. Teach yourself. Educate yourself.
Love all the comments. All right, let's go into so the next one's Mother's Day, and Mother's Day is another one that I've got a couple different things to go with it. I think of a lot of mothers that come into the shop and what they're asking for as a mom. As a husband with 3 kids, I also think of a lot of the things that my wife has craved during her being a mom years, and then I also think of Mother's Day. I feel like is brunch day, right?
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like
Mother's
100%
Day is brunch day. Yeah,
definitely brunch day. Going on to that, kind of what's written down on here, I'm agreeing with. Something of a lighter dark beer. Honestly, and maybe even throwing some interesting flavors into that. Like, I could see a very lightly mapled Shores beer being absolutely delicious. And having that with brunch, with all those brunch foods, is going to be awesome too. I don't want to go full dark, saying getting into the bigger stouts or maybe even robust porters, but keeping it nice and lighter dark. Again, in that Shores beer range, I think is awesome. You're going to complement all those breakfast foods. You're going to be able to drink it the whole time, not be overwhelmed by it. And again, I don't think it would be bad throwing a little bit of maple, or throwing a little bit of coffee or a little bit of chocolate in there too. Not too much. Don't make it cloying, or don't make it too much, but just nice a little bit.
I like you said maple. You're not the first person to say. There's another person saying maple, and there's a lot of good ideas being thrown around for Mother's Day. Yeah,
I was going to say for me, it's going to be and also because I brewed way too many different beers with coffee, but it's going to be a coffee cream ale.
Nice.
I like a good American cream ale with kind of that early morning, because I'm not going to be necessarily drinking all day, so I don't mind a little bit heavier. Because I also eat fairly hearty breakfasts, so I don't mind a little bit heavier to go with that.
Right.
But the coffee, because I think there needs to be more beers with coffee that aren't just stouts out there in the world.
Definitely.
I also think that with almost every adjunct ingredient.
Yeah. There's a lot of way more good comments on this than I thought, and this is bringing my brain into all sorts of different places.
Right. Oh, the lavender saison. I love that idea.
The lavender saison, kvass.
The chicken and waffles kvass. Okay.
That sounds like a beer.
The waffles as your wasted loaf bread kind of thing,
I was gonna say, but chicken and waffle sounds like a Willet beer.
Wife wants a goza, she gets a goza eventually. The once a year goza for you, okay. There's somebody said rose hip ale, so I like the idea. There's flowers in the beer.
Yeah,
that's really
floral.
fun.
I was gonna say, and you can really pick out some nice floral hops to go with that.
Yeah, Kevin said milk stout because you know what moms do.
They do.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, and even because I brew a sessionable milk stout, and just again, if you want to not go super robust, go a little bit on the more sessionable side.
I like the idea of the banana bread hef. That kind of brings me to the morning time. Funky Brewer says mimosa cider. I know my wife loves mimosas, so that'd be perfect for her.
I went with a nice mead. Actually, a nice mead maybe.
Yeah, mimosa, Thomas has been doing some session meads, I think, be good with mimosas.
Oh, that would be really good.
They're amazing.
I went with porter just because, for me, working at the shop here, there's a lot of times that we get women coming in here asking about making lactation supplements, and so that's either getting beer for making lactation cookies, or finding out how to make beer specifically that helps promote lactation. There's a big myth, it is a myth, that darker beers help promote lactation. So I put porter for that reason. Again, in that kind of dark range, can go well with some syrupy kind of breakfasts. But that said, to give you guys a heads up, that is a myth. Basically, a lot of people just expect dark beer they confuse dark beer and craft beer, and they're looking for the yeast that are in the beer itself. Yeah. That's what promotes lactation. So pretty much any unfiltered beer serves that same purpose. Reverend KY says, any mead from Hierophant. I agree.
Yeah.
Jeremy and Michelle are dope.
They are. They are. That is. Spokane, we are very lucky because we have Hierophant, and then we have 2 meaderies that are going to be opening up here in the near future. So we're
Yeah.
going to have plenty of good mead options.
Yeah, Emerus Fermentations. Thomas Crosscrew was on the show a little over a month ago.
Yep. And then the other is Mystic Mead, which have had their meads.
Randy's,
No, that's Rachel's doing
kombucha. She's doing
kombucha, but
yeah.
Mystic Mead has had their mead on a couple times at Bardic
Oh, cool.
because they've been able to brew at Bardic Brewery and cider because they have both a brewery and a cider license.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
And I think they just got approval on their own space to start making stuff, so hopefully they'll start popping up around town. But
That'd be awesome. Someone's
right.
saying raspberry sour. Steve Arnigan says, how much maple do I need to add to a 5-gallon batch to be able to taste it? That is wildly dependent on the type of maple that you're using.
Yeah, and beer that you have.
Yeah. So a lot of natural maples, if you ferment with it, somewhere around 32 ounces is probably a good average.
Okay.
But there are some that'll be way too pungent at 32 ounces, and there are some that you will not be able to taste at 32 ounces. So it's really hard. Someone says Jimmy says add fenugreek to dark beers for maple flavor. That's a good way to go too.
yeah,
Yeah. I was also going to say the grades of maple will make a difference on that. Generally, what I've seen, if you're using actually lower grades, they're more intensely flavored, which doesn't necessarily mean greater for pancakes, but it can for beer too, depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
If you're doing it in a stout, you're obviously going to need probably a little bit more than if you're doing it in a cream ale. Do keep that in mind as well. One of the best ways to do that is taste the beer, add some maple, taste it, and away you go.
yeah.
Another reason to keg, like we talked about,
Like we
you
talked about.
can change flavors on the fly.
Yeah.
Bottling.
Someone
not so
called the
much.
emergency services because this show is on fire. We live next to a firehouse, by the way. If you guys haven't seen, if you haven't heard sirens yet in a live stream, then you haven't watched enough of them.
Yeah. No, basically. All right.
Or they're just coming to arrest one of these two.
No, not yet.
That's true. Tim does cook meth at home. So let's go on to. I wanted to get some weird holiday.
Yeah, somebody's gonna believe that. Damn it! No.
I love how none of us are going to just say no to that statement.
I wanted to get some weird holidays in there. So if you've got some weird holidays you want to throw out and have us brainstorm with, feel free to do so.
Well, and I have a list of every beer holiday as well
Oh, perfect.
in the country. Like
You got all of them.
Yeah.
So next, I just threw down on the list Ash Wednesday. Obviously a religious holiday, but you've got a lot of things going on with Ash Wednesday. But time of the year, you've got a lot of people fasting. So with that in mind, I know that we've had the dude that did the 40-day beer fast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is a good beer for Ash Wednesday?
So, I mean, going along with the fasting, you could definitely do it like the Benedictine monks and start creating some Trappist beers. They're basically bread. That's kind of an easy way to go for it. Thank you very much, Steve. You're awesome.
Yay.
But also, I'm going to throw out there doing some beers, maybe some lighter beers or even some saisons with some palm sugar could be really nice because, that's something that they hand out on Ash Wednesday. I am a horrible Catholic, by the way. And then for me, what would be pretty good is something like a Grodotsky or Grazie, which if you don't know are basically kind of the same thing. It is a nice, light, sour smoked beer done with oak smoked wheat, which is one of my favorite smoked malts out there.
Yeah.
Awesome, nice, light, smoky beer to remind you of ashes. And also the weird incense thing that they always come by and hit you with.
For me, when I go with the fasting, I'm going to go with a khavas, the bread base, to give that little bit more body and
probably some more nutritional supplement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There. I was going to say luckily in Spokane we actually have 2 breweries that have done kvassas that have been pretty good in the area, and hopefully more breweries randomly jump on and do it as a random one-off.
I love those beers because
feel like
they're
was
those
pointed.
beers that are just they have the spectrum of flavors. They're the beers that they can be so different based on what beer base style you do, how the yeast ferments, and also what bread goes into it. So they're just crazy spectrum. Someone says quad +1.
Yeah,
Quad is a tough one. If you're fasting, quad is a tough one.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, Kvass, Black Label Brewing Company in downtown Spokane. They also own the pizza place next door, and they've used the pizza dough in their kvass.
That's
nice.
a
That's
really
pretty
fun
cool.
idea.
Yeah, and then of course the other one that
Hey.
commonly uses it is Grain Shed, who Teddy was on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We have a pizza place next door.
Yeah, there we go.
Breadsticks.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get their cinnamon twist sticks, and we'll throw it in there for a cinnamon kvass.
I'm down.
All right. Sorry.
I'll be here to drink it.
Keeping with the religious theme, everyone says quad, the original liquid bread. I went with Rausch beer, by the way, for Ash Wednesday. Just same reason a lot of other people use Rausch beer.
that was Doppelbock, not quad.
Huh?
The original liquid bread was Doppelbock.
Oh, we'll see. Yeah. Doppelbock. Yeah. The apartment brewery. Yeah.
He did compliment us. Thank you.
Yeah.
The apartment brewer says Doppelbock, which there you go. That's awesome too.
I was
Reading all the other quads.
yeah, reading a lot at once and just kind of skim through it. Let's go. Okay, and one more religious holiday, real quick. This one has a lot of different meanings to me because of what's it called?
Memories.
Memories. What's it called? Like a
Bring back memories.
Bring back you. Contemporary things that are in existence in popular culture stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
Pop
So
culture.
The next holiday we're gonna go with is Good Friday.
Yeah. Good Friday.
What does Good Friday mean to you guys?
a
As
great
Catholic-
movie.
Oh yeah.
I am a horrible Catholic. Good
I'm
Good Friday
non-religious.
means there's another holiday coming soon.
Yes.
I was-
Another holiday coming soon.
I honestly is the only reason I know when like most of these holidays are is because of Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fat Tuesday is like that's the only reason I know when like approximately when Good Friday and Ash Wednesday are, because I am a non-religious.
Yeah.
Much to half my family's dismay, but
Yeah. So Good Friday, I just said 40 ounce of malt liquor. I don't know what you guys' association is with that.
You know, Good Friday. I think that's a good thing on there because Good Friday, if I remember right, and probably not, is coming after Lent, and you get to do things again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're like, hey, let's go get messed up, and so you get a big bottle of Sunny D and some malt liquor, drink it to the label, fill it back up, and turn on some Beastie Boys.
That's right.
I was gonna say along those lines, I'm just gonna throw in a really nice big imperial or quad.
Yeah.
Somebody threw out double IPA if they have the day off.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say I do Beer Friday with a couple coworkers where we go get. Pre-COVID, we would go to a brewery and just have like 3 or 4 beers.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
end of the work week. So, any craft beer on a Friday.
Yeah.
That's my go-to is any craft independent beer
That's what Good Friday means to Matt. You're drinking a good beer on a Friday.
with
Yeah.
good people.
There you go. All right. So somebody brought this up and we have to do this one because I enjoy where Peter went with this. Cinco de Mayo. Maybach. Definitely Maybach because it's and
Cinco de Mayo.
Maybach.
Right?
There's both
Yeah.
May in them. It's perfect. It's absolutely, he gets credit for this. It's
Except
perfect.
except on here he wrote MacBook.
You did right, MacBook.
Yeah.
But
Damn it, autocorrect. Cinco de MacBook.
Cinco de MacBook. Also, if you can liquefy it and drink it, the MacBook will probably give you cybernetic powers. I'm pretty sure that's how Cyborg comes into existence in the DC universe. I haven't seen the Schneider cut yet. I don't know.
Yeah, but I do agree with the Maybach because it's again a beer that you can. Cinco de Mayo people are typically drinking all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a Maybach's a beer that you can drink all day and also pairs well with a lot of the foods that you're going to be eating.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly, like Maybach's can help cut through a lot of the spicy. If you're making tacos and properly, they're spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not Taco Bell tacos. They're actually spicy.
And not all tacos are that, because if you get a really nice al pastor, that's going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
nice and sweet with the pineapples and everything, and it's going to be so goddamn good if
Yeah.
you make it on the frickin' spit and do it right.
We could
Or
probably-
some birra. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, birra you can do spicy too,
But yeah, I was
you
gonna say,
should.
but tacos have a nice strong,
The-
a good
strong
tacos,
flavors.
strong flavors, and Maybach can help cut through
Oh,
a lot
yeah,
of that
definitely.
without overpowering those flavors.
Obviously, Cinco de Mayo, people are going to throw out cerveza as well. We do like that Mexican-style light lager, but we wanted to go a little bit weird, and so I thought, the Maybach, because it's a May holiday, sounded
Yeah.
perfect.
In all honesty, if you're drinking something like Victoria or their cervezas that are based on Viennas, it's not that far off from Maybach either. So It's already kind of a thing, but Maybach, definitely.
Yeah.
We just like saying Maybach.
Bruno Tony says Snyder Cut is much better than the original, but sheesh, is it long?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what my wife says every night. Also, Reverend KY, Tequiza, 100%. No, there is literally a beer called Tequiza. At least it existed like 15 years ago when I went to England. I did the dumbest thing I could do in London and went to a Tex-Mex restaurant because I'm like, how did the English produce Tex-Mex? Horribly. By the way, if there's anybody in England, like, yes, that was a horrible restaurant. It was not even close to Tex-Mex, and I probably would have rather gone to Taco Bell for a more authentic taco. But they had a cerveza already infused with tequila, and holy shit, was it good. So
Thank you, Adam, for the super chat.
We're going to do this, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Adam, thank you so much. Please do not stop doing this live stream ever. We appreciate it. We like the chance to actually get to just, vibe about some fun beer brainstorming, so...
Yeah. Also, Brew Mill Tony, yes, she does, because that's also what I call my penis. But yes, so that was really, if you haven't tried it before, get yourself a nice cerveza, add a shot of tequila to it, some lime, and it is wonderful, and have a lot of them.
Brian Parks, how dare you? UK, home of Tex-Mex.
I mean, I will say this, like, English food does not suck. There was so many good meals that I had over there. The Churchill Arms, the Thai food place that is in the bottom of Churchill Arms, is still like haunts my dreams. I need to go back to London just to go there.
Ooh.
But holy crap, did that place suck.
Jimmy,
it was in Greenwich,
Jimmy,
too.
you're speaking my language, the jalapeno cream ale there.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Lutra Maybach from Ham McVeigh. I think I pronounced that right. Lutra Maybach is a great idea. It's a fantastic way to get a Maybach out very quickly. Just make sure you give it some cold conditioning time to get that clarity, because Lutra does need that crashing to clarify quickly.
Mm-hmm. It is a little stubborn clarifying out. It does, I have found with it, it almost has like a little bit of the Quake farmhousiness while it's still in suspension, but clean once it's gone.
Daniel, Cinco de Mayo, a 750 of cilantro aioli cream ale. I don't know the logistics of this one. I think that's just mayonnaise and cilantro with a couple shots of vodka in it.
Aioli is not mayo, though. Aioli is made different.
Yeah, it's basically mayo.
But it's good mayo.
It's basically mayo.
It's good mayo.
It's good mayo.
Okay.
Fermentation temperature for Lutra. If I'm doing something that's trying to be a lager, I'm going to ferment to 85 degrees or more.
Yes. We honestly don't really ferment our Lutra below 85. If it's going to be an ale style, if we're using it to replace something like 1056, or an IPA or things like that, it's going to probably be up in the 90 range. If it's more of a lager style, down around the 85 range.
Yeah, well, you have to turn so that the labels, you can see the labels.
Well, then how am I going to know? I turn it after we pour it.
No,
Okay.
because we turn it to the camera and they pick it.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, okay.
You pick what beer?
Well, so
You pick what beer you want us to drink. You pick what beer you want us to drink next.
for
Lars.
those who that can't see, so this was Black Label Brewing Company. This was my collab I did with them. That's a coffee IPA. This is a beer inspired by a chocolate chip cookie, an oatmeal raisin stout, and a lemon snap cookie.
Okay.
Yes, guest homebrews, Daniel, because
Yeah. We'll get into picking this. There's Lars. I have to go back to this because this is something that irritates me just a little bit. Is there any U.S. that makes fest beer? Yes, there are a lot of U.S. beer breweries that make fest beer, but I'm going to get on this that U.S. breweries do not make fest beer, right? We have a little bit of a misunderstanding of what fest beer is generally. Fest beer is a little brother to Marzen. Fest beer should be lighter than Marzen and actually a lower alcohol beer. It should not be more alcoholic or very alcoholic. This is a beer you are supposed to drink all fest long. You have liters of, granted, they don't normally fill it all the way up to the liter, but you have liter steins of this stuff that you drink mass amounts. A normal fest beer generally is in the 4.5% range. It is lower. Yeah, it's got some good malts to it. It's a little bit hoppier than what Marzen will be, but it is lower in alcohol. And quite a few U.S. breweries do it. In fact, we produced one just a little while ago.
And
That
there
went
comes
into the trash.
there comes the gush. There. So.
All right.
A little bit. That's yeast is boiling
Okay.
up.
Fermenting quake at standard ale temperatures, you just don't get as many flavors. It's like saison
I
yeast
should
in
say
that
it
way.
depends on the quake.
Okay, yes, that is actually true.
With Lutra, you get more funkiness at room temperature than you do at high temperatures. With Voss, which is the one that I'm familiar with, you actually get a nice subtle oranginess at that high temperature, but it can get really fruity at the lower temperatures. Hornadal Hornadal is the opposite. So Hornadal, you need to
Hornadal.
push to get that nice funkiness to it.
Yeah. Hothead is pretty much the same all the way through at any temperature. Trogdal, and I probably said that way wrong.
Trogdor.
That one.
Trogdor, yeah.
Trogdor!
Burninator.
Burn
We haven't used that
American
one very
Logan.
much. That's actually a harder strain for us to get a hold of homebrew and commercially without paying a lot of money. So we haven't experimented with that, but it kind of varies on the quake.
All right, let's go on to Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. What beer goes well with Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day?
I mean, that's you had to like throw it out there. There's a really horrible part of me that is the part of me that plays like Cards Against Humanity that wants to say Japanese rice lager, but that is so wrong. If I'm going to be honest, I like what you put down in there.
Anything that's a hop bomb?
Let's not. Let's just not.
I was going to say just some sort of lager that you can just enjoy on the beach.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to go for a tropical oyster stout.
Yeah.
I
Mixing two style. I like that.
Yeah, well, what Peter has written down here is the oyster style. Let him get into that. But I like the tropical version of it, being in Hawaii, being that warm ferment, being a little bit easier to drink in the warm weather, but also having the oyster stout part of it in there because I absolutely and utterly love oysters, and it's the ocean.
Bruno Tony said, does it have to be served from a Nuka tap?
God damn it. Yes. Yes, it does.
Actually, Reverend KY, the Mai Tai kettle sour.
It's a solid idea.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it. Sea salted fruited goza. I like it. So I went with I kind of went oyster stout. Went with that like oceany kind of vibe just because of where it where it happened near the ocean. So I went with oyster stout for that reason.
Also, isn't that like in December or
Yeah, it's in November.
November? Okay.
November.
Yeah,
I knew it was in more of the colder.
colder weather. So a nice dark beer is going to go well with that. Mm-hmm. And that's the only reason I picked. Yeah, that's why. Anybody else got some holidays for us?
I was going to say I can run down the whole list of every actual beer holiday.
No, just pick one. Let's go one more holiday, and then we can go to some sugar adjuncts.
Okay.
Oh, also the person that said they're calling their Marzen an Oktoberfest, whatever, it's close enough.
Same thing.
Yeah. If you take it to Germany in a competition, you'll probably, lose a lot of marks, but
In
otherwise-
2004 style guidelines, Marzen was an overarching category that was Oktoberfest and Vienna Lager. So, and that's how the 2004 BJCP categorized them. Now it's categorized differently, and I have to relearn everything. God damn it.
like making new styles and stuff. What is this?
I know.
Quit being inventive.
Can we put Spam into a beer? That's
Yes.
what we look for Pearl Harbor.
Well, I don't know about that. That might be too high a salt content, but we can certainly try.
Was going to say you end up you go for a saltier beer. Like
Yeah.
you a style goes Grisette. But holiday to throw out there, Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving? Oh, yeah.
American Thanksgiving there.
Did you toast the oats on this?
Oh
no, wait. This is the
lemon snap.
lemon.
Yeah.
This is the lemon cookie. So
Yeah, and
not
it
this one.
actually has a really nice kind of lemon tartness to it.
Yeah.
It's there's a little bit left.
Yeah,
We're
I'll
really
get
finishing.
to it. There's another bottle. I know where it's at.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I dropped off so many bottles here. But Thanksgiving, because for me Thanksgiving, I'm spending it with my family, but we're also drinking almost all day.
Yeah. And it's also, Thanksgiving is a tough one because not only you're drinking all day, but you're also eating a lot. And so you've got to have a beer that's going to settle your stomach a little bit better and a beer that's not going to fill you up. So I'm going to throw, for my personal taste, Thanksgiving, I'm going to throw big, thick beers out of the water.
Yeah.
Like I
Well,
cannot drink those all day.
Not all day. I will say a big, thick beer is probably a nice digestif for me.
As a
when
nightcap?
you're- when you're getting into pumpkin pie and all that kind of stuff, a big, thick beer could be all right.
My family, it's
But-
mincemeat pie and pecan pie are the
Yeah.
two dessert pies there.
Yeah.
So getting into that, definitely a digestif. Who just said that? The department brewer, like your idea of beer de garde, that could be good.
Yeah.
I'm actually personally gonna go with mixed firm sours on that. I like having some Creek or Lambic even in there. Creek is one of my favorite, just because those big sour fruity flavors really help to cut all those big fatty rich flavors going on. Plus, most of the time, they're lower in alcohol, so you can drink them all day long. You don't necessarily want to chug them, so you don't end up being too drunk on that. But
Yeah.
that's normally my Thanksgiving.
I like the Creek idea. I don't know if you guys grew up the same way that I did, but when I grew up before, because my family always had champagne bottles for special occasions, right? New
Yeah.
Year's Eve. But Thanksgiving, instead of champagne for the kids, we also had sparkling ciders, like the cranberry sparkling cider.
The Martinellis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
So a Creek kind of fits right into that, and so that's got that nostalgic vibe for me too. I love that idea of also anything that just it's got that extra depth of flavor, so it's like a nice white wine, but it's a beer. So I like the idea of mixed firm sours. I like the idea of a Creek.
Yeah. For me, it's going to be either an amber or a lighter brown.
Yeah.
They're just because of a lot of the foods that I eat are going to those flavors are going to pair nicely, especially on a brown. I'm not a huge brown fan, but if I can find a nice light nutty brown, that's going to pair well with almost all the food I'm going to be eating throughout that whole day. Because honestly, breakfast is cookie dough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I eat cookie dough for breakfast, so that way I'm not filling up too much before Thanksgiving dinner.
I always do a Thanksgiving run in the morning, and so I go a run, and then I get like coffee and coffee pastries in the morning.
Yeah.
And then it's going eating all day.
Yeah. Also, way to come in late, Braj. Got to call you out for that one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
You finally made
homebrew
it
for
in
life.
here.
Like I'm usually the last one to respond out of the regulars on here, and you're
15 minutes.
Hey,
15
you know
minutes.
what? He made it. He made it. I'm going to give him that. But, also we got to do a little razzing on
Hold
that.
on.
So.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Do something. Oh, Peter's going to show you something, so pay attention.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
okay.
Brian, okay, let me tell you this. Holidays in the United States are not the same where they are other places. We don't get the work off. You just work through it. Like, these things, the holidays are moved so they can be on weekends. So that way you can still work for it. It's not like, like some places in the UK where and holiday also doesn't mean vacation. That just means like, oh, we found a mundane reason to celebrate a day and drink.
Well, yeah, it's in the United States. A holiday is in modern culture is a holiday is a drinking day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as soon as you're off work, or maybe the last hour of your work. Not that I would ever do that.
Yeah, no, never. So we don't get all of these off, and unless you're sneaky and you have doctor's appointments, or anything like that. And also, we just kind of make things up.
I don't
as
get
well.
any days off, so
You also own
That's
a
also a
business.
choice.
it's a choice, but it's a choice because I
Sometimes.
have a family at home that I need to not let die.
Sometimes it's a choice.
Sometimes I have to not let them die.
And it's also, sometimes. No, I'm not going to say that. Our wives watch this.
Excuse
No.
the ignorance. What does BRAJ stand for? It stands for always be chill no matter what.
That's one of the new shirts, isn't it?
BRAJ. It's a homebrew for life chill shirt. They've had it for a while.
Yeah.
Which is another.
Homebrew for Life is another homebrew channel that we like to interact with because they're pretty darn good guys.
I was gonna say the few videos. I need to watch more of the videos, but the few videos I've watched.
Yeah.
Good job.
Great.
All right. Sugar adjuncts. Shall we go on to sugar adjuncts, or
Yes.
what are we doing?
So sugar adjuncts. We want to talk about this really quickly, and if you guys want us to go back to holidays, let us know. But sugar adjuncts, I think, are really fun, especially if you're doing flavored beers, to know what you can put into
Thank
beers.
Reverend for the super chat.
Oh yeah, thank you.
half
It's from Homebrew for Life. Nice. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah, that's just because he couldn't, get off the crapper long enough to actually do that. But thank you very much. We enjoy it.
KY. Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah. All right.
So let's talk about some ways to get more flavor into your beer using sugar adjuncts that you might not always use, and kind of talk a little bit about how to use them. The first one might be a little bit obvious, but I don't think a lot of people have used it before. And I'm going to throw out brown sugar, because a lot of people think if they're going to add sugar, that's got to be something light like white sugar or dextrose. Or some other sugars we'll get to later. But brown sugar actually is a relatively neutral sugar that has subtle flavors left over from how it's processed. That it can actually help build into a lot of dark flavors. So if you add brown sugar to, for example, an amber or darker, it's going to help push forward that idea of Maillard complexity and boost the alcohol without thickening up the beer.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you're doing something like an imperial stout and it's just getting way too syrupy thick on you, adding that brown sugar in will definitely light it up, keep it from getting too syrupy, and give you those extra flavors. But even take that further, add it into some other beers. We actually love using brown sugar in our sodas. They add a little bit of extra flavor complexity to it, and adding it to your ciders and things like that as well. I believe Spire Dark and it's not brown sugar, but kind of close. Spire Dark and Dry gets most of its color and flavor from molasses in there. So brown sugar is awesome. Along with that, molasses. Molasses is incredible.
Ooh, molasses. I like using molasses, especially in darker beers.
If you make a gingerbread stout, you've already used molasses.
You have to use molasses. Using blackstrap molasses. Ah, there he is. Homebrew for life. Yeah. But using molasses will give you a nice kind of like rummy flavor in there, as well as those molasses cookie or ginger snap cookie flavors. Blackstrap molasses is normally what I've used for that more intense flavor, but because I like to camp. But using some lighter flavors could also give you the nice, more delicate in there. Honey. And different types of honey. Don't just go to the store and buy
Clover
the
honey
blended honey.
Yeah, clover honey. This honey you get in the store is probably the worst honey to use in beer.
I was gonna say we are very lucky here in the Spokane area because we have a lot of independent places that sell honey, and there's a lot of, and it's just honey is. I think I have like 3 or 4 different homebrew recipes that use honey in it. They're particularly on some of the lighter side because it adds a really nice complexity of flavor.
Yeah.
Again,
none of the store-bought shit, but
yeah. It's fine if you buy the store-bought stuff. Just honey, when it ferments out, you are left with what the honey was harvested from, and clover tastes like grass, so you just added grass.
Thank you, Esteban, for the super chat.
Yeah.
This live stream has been a solid change of pace. I'm glad you like it because we like being able to talk about different stuff too, and do some brainstorming. Homebrew for Life asked thoughts on 5-star new pill before products, cool or dead weight. For me, they're just too expensive for what they do. They take they're kind of a copycat of what Craftmeister was doing a while ago with the carboy cleaning and keg cleaning tabs, and per how much cleaning you get off of them, they just cost a lot more. So they're good products and they're easy to use, but as much as I brew, they're just way more than I want to spend.
Yeah. Jimmy, this is a good question here. Brown sugar, good or poor choice paired with hoppy beers fermented with a lactic producing yeast like Philly? Okay. So hoppy beers, I think that's your big problem. The lactic acid and brown sugar, I don't think it's a bad problem because making a sour dark beer is super delicious. But
I was going to say I've done it by accident a couple times, and
it's
been absolutely amazing.
They're really good. If you can get your hands on something like Cascade Brewing's Vlad the Impaler or Bourbonic Plague, do it. You will thank yourself. I
think it's a doable concept. I just don't think it's an easy to do concept.
Yeah. The extra Maillard reaction with the hops are kind of 2 different contradicting flavors, and to meld those would be more advanced. Let's say it that way.
How much honey would you add in a 5-gallon batch? Depends on the honey. If it's a super pungent honey, a pound is probably fine. If it's a lighter honey, like a wildflower honey, or even like a orange blossom honey, you can probably go up to 3 pounds. At that point, you're getting a good amount of alcohol from your honey, though. So
yeah, I was gonna say and it also depends on the style of beer that you're doing, because if you're doing a darker beer, you're gonna want more honey. If you're doing a lighter beer, you're going to want to go on the lighter side there, because the honey will just naturally come out more in those. So, because I think I'm for my ginger honey wheat that I do, I'm thinking like a half a pound to a pound, somewhere in that range. So it's because I want the honey flavor without a ton of alcohol.
Right.
Because my friends call it lake beer because it's the beer that they want to drink when they're out on the lake.
Yeah.
I will also say this about honey. Using different types of honey will give you different flavors and different concentration amounts. If you're using an orange blossom honey, a higher concentration amount to get that really nice orange blossom flavor out of there could be really good. Versus something you use like buckwheat. If you're using buckwheat honey, which you should in a lot of your English barley wines, if you want to get that stale, old character to it, is a small amount because it is very intense. So taste your honey, make sure you know what it is before you're using it in your product, and then you can adjust to it accordingly.
And Homebrew for Life, yes, to answer your question, I am the love child between Peter and Tim.
He is our son. That's yeah.
He was made like right up there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say mass wise, it's got to be like a subtractive thing though. Like it's got to be like, my weight minus Tim's weight equals Matt's weight.
Probably.
I was going to say, for the amount of beer I drink, I should probably weigh a lot more than I do.
Yeah. All right. There's a couple other sugars we want to get into. There's a good question from Daniel, though. So honey, there's a whole bunch of different ones. Experiment around with those. Candy sugars. This is something that you've seen on the table the whole time. Cascade candy sugar. They are making some really good flavored. We have blood orange and toasted coconut here. This is actually a really good way to add extra flavors into your beer, and Candy does some unique things because it is an invert sugar. It is a single sugar molecule that is split into 2 different sugar molecules.
Yeah. And so, by the way, we've owed Cascade a video for a while because we love their stuff, and they sent us these 2 for free to try out. We've also bought Cascade candy sugar in the past quite a bit because they're really, really good. Yeah. But if you guys end up buying some really fun flavored Cascade stuff, send them a message and being like, tell them that we sent you. That way they're like, oh, they did the video. Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Take some pressure off us.
Yes. So that's really good. This is a cool way to do it.
You get some
whip
in.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to play around with that.
Yeah.
You get some fun flavors coming off of candy, especially darker ones. I know somebody asked earlier in this if candy sugar is different from table sugar, and that's 100% yes, because of that invert quality. Mm-hmm. Because you have 2 different sugar molecules, the way that the yeast ferments it actually does leave you with different mouthfeel. And candy can be it can have a lot more body to it than table sugar can.
Yeah.
So candy is awesome. If you can't get your hands on candy, table sugar is an okay substitute, along with brown sugar is an okay substitute. But if you can get your hands on candy, use that instead.
Definitely not the same, yeah.
Also, we're gonna a couple of way different sugars to add in there.
I was gonna say you mentioned coconut.
Well, coconut sugar is a great thing.
Yeah,
There's palm sugars out there. We had some date sugar crystals that we added into a Belgian that was really nice. Those are all great, adding different flavors to it. And also something like monk fruit. Monk fruit is an unfermentable sugar that you can add. Your IPA fermented out way too dry. A little bit of monk fruit, bring it back up into really nice levels.
And it's got a nice subtle funkiness that also gives you the perception of beer flavor, which is really nice because it doesn't, artificially puff up a beer and taste like dextrin. If you add maltodextrin, I hate that flavor; it's so bad.
Yes, so use monk fruit instead of maltodextrin. I know maltodextrin is cheaper, but there's a reason it's cheaper, and it tastes cheaper. Okay, Daniel wanted one last holiday, and I kind of like this one, Repeal Day.
Which isn't that also National Beer Day in the United States now?
Well, it's probably National Beer Day because people don't know what repeal means. But that is when...
Yeah, it's National Beer Day.
Beer became legal again.
Yeah, the end of Prohibition. Our 7-year long hiatus, was it 7 years?
7 years? It was too long.
Tim, you're the historian.
We are, yeah, well, kind of. We're in Washington, and Washington was known as the wet state because we imported a lot of the country's booze. Fun fact, the biggest booze runner in Washington state was the sheriff of King County. I believe it was King County. No? Yes.
Yeah, no, that would make sense.
And it was on the west side somewhere over there.
It was either King or Pierce County.
King or Pierce, and he was the biggest rum runner in Washington because he was like, yeah, I need booze too. Visit Wet State Brewing Company if you're over in Gig Harbor. They have the full story on that. They are amazing people with some amazing beer too.
H. Farrell wants you to mandatory beer chug.
Oh, what? Mandatory beer chug? I hadn't tasted that yet. That's a coffee IPA. That was really nice.
Yeah. Good thing we got 32 ounces of it.
I don't chug beers ever, so.
You have to when there's an NBC.
No, I know, and that's why I did it, and I regret a lot of decisions immediately.
Yeah. But yeah, so best beer for Repeal Day. Any.
And I was going to say,
we already did pre-prohibition lager, but I think that'd be like the kind of the obvious idea.
Yeah, I mean, obvious idea, definitely. Actually, I'm gonna go for this. My choice, prison hooch, prison toilet hooch, because that would be the only beer that's available for Repeal Day. So it has to be
like grape juice, white bread, ketchup.
And what's the yeast source?
I know the white bread is the yeast
Well,
source.
yeah, white bread is so cooked, it might not have any yeast left in
Yeah.
it.
I'm pretty sure that's why they threw. I don't know if they knew why it fermented, but I'm pretty sure that's what they threw.
Actually,
in
it's made in a
yeast
toilet, so it
Well-
probably has natural yeast just from other.
yeah, well, I'm gonna
Things.
tag on to what Kevin said. Any homebrew.
Any homebrew, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
kinda
that
makes sense.
is any home or again
Any homemade
independent-
alcohol.
or independent brewery. Like don't support the big the super big dogs.
It's also right after. It's also right after the Roaring '20s, like right at the beginning of the recession. So we got to think about that too.
So it's got to be homemade gin.
Yes.
Oh,
That's it.
actually, or
It's gin IPA, spruce tip IPA.
yeah, gin IPA.
Gin IPA.
with gin.
Gin
Yeah.
IPA.
Nailed it.
Right there. That final answer.
I was gonna say, speaking of gin IPAs, what got me into IPAs was when Iron Goat did the gin barrel
Oh, the
aged
gin barrel
IPA.
aged
Yeah,
IPA.
yeah, that was.
The
That's what
first
got
couple
me.
of versions of that at the old shop were so good.
I know.
And you know what, Adam Boyd, if you were watching, shape it up, dude. Because the new gin barrel aged IPAs are not as good as the old ones, and they need to be. That beer was legendary.
That's
And-
what got me into IPAs.
Yeah.
Like
Now
I hate
Wait
it's-
them.
for it.
What?
Damn it! I missed my opportunity.
Oh, yeah, you
Yeah.
did wait. You did.
You missed
You
your
waited
time.
for it too long.
Yeah.
Damn it, Adam. Shape up. I don't know if you're the
Yeah,
one
but,
doing those
yeah.
beers, but do
Kevin,
better.
juniper berry or like juniper IPAs are just so good.
Yeah,
We need
Elysian,
to redo that Saudi IPA we did.
Elysian made those like
The Beers of the Apocalypse?
yeah, really
Oh,
well
yeah.
before Elysian was.
Oh,
ABMF.
when Dick Cantwell was still making their beers?
It's so good.
All right, don't get me started. That is my high horse. How the hell do you piss off, like, literally one of the godfathers of brewing, especially in one of the biggest, like, craft brew areas of the world, and make him hit the company he started? Like, how are you that dumb?
Yeah.
Anheuser-Busch. How are you that dumb?
Hey,
Dick Cantwell is amazing. That guy can brew
I
beer.
think we have a year
phenomenal.
or 2
But-
years left until he comes back to Washington.
Yeah,
Because
good.
He flat out said that he's not going to brew. He's not going to start another brewery until it can come back, because it was a no compete clause in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. And he is it was like a 10-year no compete
yeah.
clause, and he's like, well, I'm selling books. I can just sell my books for a while. And we're approaching the end of that, and
So-
hopefully we'll have him start up a brewery soon,
Hopefully.
because he needs to make more good
More
beer.
beer.
Which a great brewery over in Seattle, from a couple of the guys that were trained by Dick, Cloudburst.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
left when Dick left and
Good.
opened up Cloudburst because they did not have the non-compete clause, and they are probably
They're
some of the
pretty good.
best hoppy beers over in Seattle, in my opinion.
So, if you guys don't know who Dick Cantwell is one of the 3 guys and the main brewer of Elysian Brewing Company, Elysian, Elijah, however you want to say it. It's a Greek word. I don't care. Over in Seattle, they were acquired by Anheuser-Busch a few years ago. Dick did vote no on that. He got outvoted and very soon left because of creative differences. And literally this guy helped shape a lot of Pacific Northwest brewing, which helped shape a lot of American brewing. And for a company to be that dumb, to be like, we literally have a legend on our hands. Yeah. And we're just going to make him so mad he doesn't want to brew beer for 10 years. Like, come on, son. Come on, son.
Hey,
but anyway, so, yeah, there we go.
Also, Homebrew for Life, if I was going to say I will message you, but if you want me on your Wednesday show, I am more than happy to jump on and join there. Sorry, I just noticed you asking for anyone, which I do think Peter needs to get back on there. I also think Tim needs to get on there.
Happy hour?
Yeah,
I could go home drunk to my wife. She definitely won't be mad at me.
I know for sure I cannot do it this Wednesday because I have a cross-country meet, so I'll be cross-country coaching.
Well, you know what? Send the information to Peter if I am not brewing beer.
Send it to Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm not brewing beer on that.
Well, I was going to say, if they're busy, and I'm more than happy to join.
Can you add fruit to an ESB? I like this idea, and I think the answer is mostly no, with the exception of like dates, figs, like.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Fruit to an ESB.
Oh.
It's got to be certain fruit.
Okay. Yes. Yes, you can add fruit to an ESB to make it good. I think it does have to be the right fruit on there.
Raisins.
I personally wouldn't, because if you make an ESB right, it's going to have the right amount of fruitiness and deliciousness in there already. I'm going to throw a little bit different. So these guys are going for some dark fruit on there: fig, date, raisin, plum. I could honestly see more of a prune than a plum, maybe. But I would also even say throwing in some Granny Smith apples in a low amount would be really good at an ESB. It's going to bring up that acetaldehyde, that green apple skin that's in there. Also, I'm on 2 camps on this. I think you could do peach decently, but I think you could do noyeau way better. What noyeau is basically the actual seed from inside a stone fruit. So when you eat a peach, plum, or anything like that, it has that stone on the middle. If you break it open and grab the seed out of the inside, those things are actually really, really good to ferment on. They provide some great woody flavors as well as some really good stone fruit flavors. So I think using some pits, like cherry pits, as well as some noyeau from peach or nectarines could be good.
Well, now you're just adding more to what I have to brew.
Yeah, exactly. So make that, bring it in, we'll taste it, we'll judge it, and tell you how it goes.
Yeah.
As you were saying that, I just thought of a fun idea for kind of an experimentation series on a full video, or maybe just a live stream topic. But pairing alcohols, because there's a lot of alcohols. Obviously, I have a lot of alcohol. Pairing alcohols with beer and how to actually make different alcohol themed beers. So we have you have your curacao, you have creme de noix, which I think could go well just in an alcohol at the end. You've got you've got cachaça, which is a really fun one to probably go with some light beers. It's like a lime cachaça cerveza, something kind of that.
Something like that.
You can really.
There's so much to think about.
Well, I was gonna say, given the fact that beer cocktails are actually a thing.
Yeah.
And it's not a well-known thing, but it's a thing, and it needs
should
to be
well-known.
Better well-known, because as someone who cannot do a ton of hard alcohol, doing a beer cocktail with a little bit of hard alcohol, I'm totally down with.
Yeah.
All right. Peter has a question from somebody, but I need to address this right now. Pamela Huckala. Cherry pits are known to have very extremely low amounts of cyanide. That higher amounts are found in way more common foods that you buy from the grocery store. The only way that you can extract the cyanide is actually in cherry pits, at least, is in the presence of the cherry juice, and they have to be crushed up, or else it doesn't really extract. The amount that you would actually have to consume of cherry pits to get a lethal or even an uncomfortable dose is going to be so extreme, you probably couldn't do it unless you were trying.
I want to say there's a study out there that shows that the level of fiber in cherry pits is literally more toxic by volume than the level of cyanide. So you'd probably die from eating too much fiber before dying from the cyanide.
It's one of those things that it's in the... man, this is another soapbox of mine. Sassafras. Sassafras has sassafrol in it, which the FDA found in extreme amounts to cause cancer. That was the main component of root beer for a long time. So now the main component is wintergreen, which is why it tastes different. The thing that has much, like 10 times the amount, I might be making that up, but much more sassafrol than sassafras is basil. But the FDA didn't outlaw that. So there's things like that. Yes, the cherry pits do contain trace amounts of cyanide, but those trace amounts they are so low that you will not hurt yourself or anybody else unless you are a murderer and you try.
You just described half the brewers I know.
Murderers? Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, well, by alcohol generally, but yeah. So that, yes, there is something in that. That is a factual thing, but I guarantee you that all the processed foods that come off the grocery store shelves probably have more cyanide in them than cherry pits do. That is a very, very small amount.
And John, I was going to say, I don't think we have the time to go into explain how to prep and use pits and stuff, but there are plenty of videos out there, I'm sure.
Oh, the Noyo. Take a hammer, crack the outside, pull the seed out, use it.
Yeah.
That's literally about it. You can cure them or roast them if you want to. It brings out other flavors, but literally just smack it, pull the seed out, and use it. It's why a lot of people don't, because it's a lot of process. So.
All right, I'm going to answer Adam Chumbley because he asked me who do I coach for. I coach for a local high school, East Valley High School. I ran for Washington State University when I was in college. And I agree, XC for life. I love cross country.
I was going to say Spokane is a huge cross country city.
Yeah.
It's
my senior year in high school, we had 3 of the top 12 teams in the country in Spokane. One of them was a top 3 team.
Well, I was going to say, when my brother was running cross country, I remember him going down to meets, and they're just like, oh, that's the JV team that can compete against all the other like varsity teams. Like
I had a kid move up here from Oregon, and he was an okay kid in Oregon, but we trained him up, and he got really, really good at cross country. Like he became a really good runner because he kind of fell into love with it, and so he ended up being our number 1 runner, and then our number 7 runner. He was still in contact with some of his friends from Oregon, and he said our number 7 runner, and I have a small team, would have been their number 1 runner at his high school in Oregon.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, the story I always remember is when they were trying to do the mile, just for like a track meet, and they had to go down to it was 5 minutes to have an even split.
Yeah.
Like, almost everywhere else in the country, sub 6 is, oh my God, you're amazing, and only in Spokane can you get to, around a 5-minute mile.
Well, yeah, 5 minutes is that's kind of the break even between you're on JV if you're over 5 minutes, you're on varsity if you're under 5 minutes. Yeah. And there are high schools in Spokane where that point is 4:30, not 5.
Yeah. So.
That was super interesting.
Hey, I was going to say, I grew up in cross country without running cross country.
If you did not know, Peter is a huge runner.
It's going.
Ah!
Mouth! We're going to share COVID germs.
No known pathogen can survive in beer.
Wink.
Oh. That went down the wrong pipe. Also, I think that's a little oxidized.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, man. I inhaled so much CO2 from that.
Are we going to keep going?
We don't have anybody here.
We can keep going.
I mean, we got
name another holiday. We'll keep going.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
already
created
did
a
that
list of every beer holiday,
brewer.
which I need to send to all the breweries in.
I got bored with them talking about cross country, which is why I chugged.
Cross country is the funnest.
Actually, Kevin, I am vaccinated.
So am I. So
I'm the one that's not.
But, if two of us are and one of us isn't, then we're all good to go.
Yeah, I was going to say,
right.
but I also don't. The only times I leave my house is to come to a brewery and sit away from everyone else and drink beer. And alcohol kills germs. That is a proven fact.
That's true. Okay, so we got Halloween. A lot of people have been saying Halloween, so we got to do
people are
Halloween.
saying
Okay, Halloween. Okay, that is.
All right.
Halloween, I'm going to do a sweet stout. I'm going to do a candy stout of some sort, a candy inspired, or a cereal stout. Like, I would totally do Count Chocula or Reese's Puff Porter.
That was
shut
exactly
up.
our
Okay, so you got onto it before I did, dang it. That is actually something that we do here. Halloween is something that between us and Natural 20 Brewing Company here in Spokane, we have started to make a little bit of a deal about it. Every year we collab on a beer called Reese's Puff Porter, which in the spirit of Count Chocula, we make a chocolate peanut butter porter with Reese's Puff cereal. Also, the head brewer and owner over at Natural 20's name is Reese, so we can get around copyright laws with that.
Well,
it's spelled differently, damn it, and it's his name.
And he was on a Willet beer, so
That's
go
right.
find that Willet beer.
Oh yeah, do try to find that Willet beer. It was Spody. It was pretty good. So I'm gonna say Reese's Puff Porter, but again, we make a deal out of it here at Genus and down over at Natural 20. We generally make a lot of candy beers. One of my favorite beers that we've made on that was a watermelon Sour Patch IPA. And it was
so good.
A sour IPA that literally I cleaned out URM, which is a restaurant supply store, of big ass bags of Sour Patch watermelons and threw them into an IPA. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
I'm not worried about it.
It was really, really hard to get those watermelons into the beer. They did dissolve after a boil for a while, but oh man, that was so good.
Blood Orange Saison, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Blood Orange Saison is I was gonna say any blood orange beers because again,
blood's in the name.
And then I think the funkiness of a Saison actually goes well with a lot of the fall flavors that are in there.
You're just watching my screen because it's easier.
Yours comes in faster than mine.
Yeah. Also, it's a bigger screen.
Something herbal.
Well, literally, like you have comments I don't have yet.
Gingerbread stout. I really like that idea for Halloween.
I was gonna say anytime that you're doing a gingerbread stout or a gingerbread beer not during Christmas, I'm happy with because it's just it's like the fact is I'm just happy that no one said pumpkin beers because I'm a strong believer that Halloween is actually almost too late for pumpkin. Like September is like if you're gonna have a pumpkin beer, September is when because that's when you get the most fruitiness out of it.
I'm 35% positive that pumpkin beers don't actually exist.
I will say I honestly like a pumpkin beer in November to have it more in Thanksgiving time because that feels more pumpkin-y. I mean, granted, pumpkins and Halloween go together, but not pumpkin
also,
beer.
everyone's overdoing pumpkin beers anyway because
it's a pumpkin spice beer. It's not a pumpkin beer most of the time.
If people made pumpkin beers, that'd be way different than what we have right now.
Yeah, no, it's cinnamon,
a pumpkin
nutmeg,
spice.
with a little bit of fruitiness.
I'm okay with that. Yeah. There are some really, really good ones out there.
I was gonna say, I know we were just
I gotta bring that in
Elysian,
sometime. I still have a bottle of Avery's Pum KY and from like
that's a really good. That's a fucking fantastic.
That's amazing beer.
That is so good.
Yeah, I gotta open that sometime.
Noelle says hi, Dad and Peter. And I read that right after I just cussed. Dang it, my bad.
Yeah, whatever.
My bad.
I call her a twat bag all the time. So
to answer the question, because I got called out by one of my friends there. Hi, Jen. I would say like in Washington, the most common is first of all the Avery pumpkin beer is really good, but like I know we were trashing on Elysian, but their pumpkin beers are actually pretty good.
No. The current Elysian's pumpkin beers are not that great. Dick Cantwell's pumpkin beers that he made literally like 20 of these suckers are amazing. Give Dick the credit because this is not...
Well, I was going to say, Dick's
on my horse again. Well,
I was going to say, so the one I like out of them, out of the current ones, is the
Gourdfather.
I liked actually the pumpkinchino.
Pumpkinchino's
Because
good.
mostly because I'm obsessed with coffee and beer, but that's
Well, it's really nicely balanced. You get some really big thickness that the pumpkin would actually add. There's a little bit of funkiness in there. There's the coffee.
Also, I'm just going to give a quick shout out because you guys can kind of see the labels and stuff. My friend Jen, who was the one who called me out there, she actually did the artwork for these were Christmas gifts that I gave to a bunch of my friends and brewers I know. And she did the artwork for my labels. So, quick call out there.
John Booth, horchata cream ale. When you make that, send it to us. I'm obsessed with horchata.
That is a Halloween beer. That's the right Halloween beer.
That is the right Halloween beer.
Dia de los Muertos beer.
Yes, which is such a better holiday.
Yeah. Let's go on to Veterans Day because the apartment brewer said Veterans Day.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Veterans Day. Okay, so Veterans Day, actually, on this, I am going for more of the World War veterans. And my grandfather was one of them. He was actually a home brewer before I knew about it. German lagers. Lagers. There are so many more World War II veterans that come back with a great appreciation of beer because where they spent time, beer was so damn good, and it's German lagers. And I love that. Veterans Day. And, I think that's the reason I'm going for. Of course, German might not be the best way to go. But that's the way I'm remembering it because, especially for my grandpa, he came back with such a love of great beer. He started making beer in a 5-gallon crock pot is what he did. I didn't even know this before I started making beer, but that's what it's got to be for me for Veterans Day.
I'm going to go with probably a good old American IPA. Because a lot of the people I drink beer with that were
No, wait. Somebody asked to see the labels.
Oh yeah, and then there's.
Oh, by the way, that camera's on manual focus, so those labels will be out of focus if you put them really close.
I will. I was gonna say I will send the images to Genus, and they will post them on.
We'll throw it on an Instagram story or something like that.
Yeah, I'll send it. I'll make sure that they get the images, and they'll get them up on Instagram there. But for me, it's a good American IPA because most of the veterans I know, which I was gonna say Prince from Black Label and stuff like one of their go-to beers is a good old American IPA.
Yeah.
So that's my go-to is that's the beer that we're just sitting down and we're having a couple beers around and everything.
Also, America, goddammit, America.
Yeah.
So mine is going to be the highest alcohol beer possible. I think our quad's going to be great. I think the barley wine's going to be great. And the reason
Utopias.
being, I know Utopias. If I know most veterans, like I know most veterans, or like most veterans that come in here at least, most veterans are looking for that high alcohol beer.
They want the biggest bang for their buck.
Yeah, they pretty much do. And I don't blame them. A lot of them are looking to, they use beer as a escapism sometimes.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're coming here, they're just like, hey, I want this high alcohol beer. I want to have a one and done here. I'll bring some home, get my job done home. What are we going to do? Like, obviously, they're not, going to be irresponsible about it. But most veterans that I know that have come in here are like, I want the highest alcohol beer possible.
Well, I was going to say, I will also throw in sours because now immediately, as I was thinking, it's like, oh, wait, David from Steady Flow is a veteran.
Yeah.
And he's all about them sours.
David, though, is not normal. I mean, I don't think he went normal. He definitely is not now.
As someone who went to high school with him, no.
No.
No, I was going to say, he's a good buddy, but he's but the best people are not normal.
Yeah.
That's why do you think I hang out with these two?
I am super normal.
Very. I think we can just all agree that most of the time veterans like to drink good beer.
I am super normal. I am super normal. Yes, I can.
Okay.
The apartment brewer says, thanks for trolling my pumpkin beer. You are welcome. I will do that
definitely
a lot.
Every time.
I was going to say,
send one to us and we will harshly judge it online.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a pumpkin beer video, obviously, for like Halloween and stuff like that. And I forget what I commented on there. Something stupid. Like pumpkin beers don't exist.
Which I was going to say, at the apartment brewer, I've watched a couple of your videos. I just need to sit down and binge watch a bunch of them.
Yeah, he does a good job. He lays out.
It was when originally we were like, oh, I want to find more homebrew channels.
Yeah.
Like the Apartment Brewer was like one of the first ones I found. I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. So.
Yeah, and he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And that's always
He's
important.
got a good balance. There's a lot of channels that are like, they're doing really well, but I can't make it through the entire video because...
You hit the 10-second skip throughout most of it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things like the information is not something that I normally need from videos.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I find a nugget that I'm like, oh, I got to look into that. Oh, that's really cool. But for the most part, I'm not watching these videos for information. And so, if it's not entertaining, I'm just not going to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say most beer, like there's very few, like Homebrew for Life, the Apartment Brewer, like the two besides you guys obviously that will watch actually videos. And I mostly watch these guys because they are very entertaining, and I also am in here in the shop when they're like, oh yeah, the video just went live.
Yeah. Or you're in here in the shop when we're actually filming the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I maybe spend a little bit too much time.
No, not at all.
No, I don't spend enough time here.
That's exactly right.
People don't realize that when we film our videos, like it doesn't show on all the videos, but it shows on some of the videos. We film our videos during open hours. And so it's a very hectic filming schedule / editing schedule / everything else that goes on here.
Well, I was going to say the one when I did the coffee, what was supposed to be a coffee saison, but the saison was so good that we just all drank it.
Yeah.
We did the 5-gallon coffee version.
No. We never added the coffee because COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
COVID
We
hit,
were letting that age. We made an Imperial Saison, and it was just incredible.
which I was trying to mimic, and I didn't get my ABV, my OG to what I should have gone. But
You probably didn't boil as long as we did originally.
I know we didn't. I didn't. I distilled it 2 hours.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was 2 hours into the boil. I need to boil a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
it's but yeah, no, it was a stupidly good beer. But I remember being in here because we did a triple batch that day, and it was 12 hours. Like
Oh, yeah.
me and Tim both were I left him early.
Yeah, I cleaned up. That's how it goes. When you collab with somebody and you're the host brewery, generally you clean.
Yeah,
It
was a fun brew day, and
Thank you, Refinement. You're awesome.
Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah. But I was gonna say, and any homebrewers out there, this is saying because this is just what I did. Ask your brewery if you could come in on a brew day and help them out. Like legitimately, 90% of the breweries will say yes. That's how this is my soapbox. I originally was talking to Black Label about doing a coffee IPA because I think that a coffee and IPA actually goes really well together.
Which it does.
The bitterness
When
of the
done
coffee
right.
with the bitterness of the hops just works really well. And Prince at Black Label convinced me
You're
to do
saying that one.
a bunch of coffee beers.
Yeah, I got it.
And stuff, and then they convinced me to just ask a bunch of breweries to go do this weird random Weiser rotator project, which Weiser's my last name, so that's where the project name came from. And I'm going to do tea, and then I'm going to open it up to other homebrewers in the Spokane area once we actually have a real event, because COVID there. But yeah, no, I was going to say brewers were like super receptive to me just coming up and saying, hey, do you want to make a collab beer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
It just or can I just come in and hang out during a brew day? Given the fact that there are now multiple breweries that I probably shouldn't walk into the back of just randomly, but I do.
yeah,
Beer
you know.
included.
We just tend to be particular people, and it's like, holy shit, why is there someone bad? Is that just...
Yeah. But I've
But,
also
yeah.
helped them out with equipment and stuff. So once you get that relationship, like
The apartment brewer is adding, be willing to shovel grain or clean kegs, though.
yeah.
100, I
100%,
made
yeah.
him literally clean an entire full caustic acid cycle before we
If
started
you're coming in to
brewing.
volunteer, we're going to give you the dirty jobs, not the easy jobs.
I was gonna say, if you go find Bear Puncher Brews on Instagram, there's legitimately a picture of me because Black Label gave me a keg because I was helping them keg off a beer to put into so we can put it into a fermenter.
Yeah.
The coffee IPA we drank, and somehow one of their nitro stout kegs got into the clean keg pile.
Oh.
And I tried to put a just regular keg into it, and that was one of my first true baptizing by beers.
Yeah.
There, so yeah,
Everyone does it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, be willing to
You were
clean
not-
kegs. That's what I helped Bellwether with. was help Randy move kegs around to clean, shovel grain, be a store arm for when they mash in and stuff.
Yep.
Because a lot of breweries don't have their own mechanical store arms. So I was gonna say you're doing the grunt work. You're not doing a lot of the beer planning and stuff. And
beer planning, you guys are out there thinking that professional brewers are so much different than home brewers. And you know what? Home brewers are generally a lot more precise. I would say for us, we have a plan to make a beer maybe 6 hours ahead of the time when we make it. It's kind of a deal that Peter and I will be sitting around, we'll look at our board and be like, we're missing this style. All right, I'll make that tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We look up top or at our yeast and be like, oh, we have these yeast that are getting to be 4 months old, which 4 months is fine, but we don't like to sell them when they're older.
Well, I was going to say, or I just come in and I'm like, hey, why haven't you guys done X?
Yeah, a lot of people do that too.
Yeah.
So,
there's very few breweries.
Planning
Yaya Brewing Company in Spokane's one of the ones that plans out a year in advance. Don't ask me why, but they do.
Oh, but they're a different style, though. So a lot of the time when you're doing a lot of production, you have to plan it out. You really do.
That's when you have house beers that are like, I'm putting this into distro, I'm putting them, whatever.
Yeah, no, I was going to say
Before we get too far.
All right.
Niablis. I'm calling that Niablis. I think that's the name. Holiday beers are the spice of life. I want to say thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. And I agree. Holiday beers are the spice of life.
Yeah.
I would also say that. Niablis, or maybe Niabli, like Chablis.
Like Shelby, yeah.
Yeah. If you're French. Or French-Canadian.
Niablis.
Nah, there we go. But yeah, so we're all willing. All right, anybody got another quick off the top holiday? Let's pull this random holiday out of there. Like
Groundhog's Day.
Yes, Groundhog's Day. Groundhog's Day. Brilliant. What are you drinking?
What are you drinking on Groundhog's Day?
All right. I'm going to go first on this. I am going to actually say that I am probably drinking something extremely light, maybe like a British mild on that day. It's usually still a little bit cold. Probably have a nice grill or barbecue to go to later. But if I have to repeat this day like 20 times, I don't want a beer that's going to get me so messed up I can't remember what I did before.
So I was going to say I'm going to do a similar play on repeating. I'm just going to do an American light lager because once you've had one, you've had them all, and they all taste the same, and you can just repeat it over and over again.
For Groundhog's Day, for me, I think I'm going to go with something that is. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to remember the day before because of what I'm drinking that day, and for me, that's a hazy IPA. The amount of terpenes in a hazy IPA and how that affects your brain differently than a lot of other beers. It's not that I'm getting super drunk or that I'm going to be super hungover the next day, but I'm most likely to forget the vast majority of my actions the day before. So it's kind of a different play on drinking a lot. It's a different repeating kind of play. But for me, Groundhog's Day is going to be a hazy IPA.
I was going to say, and now if you actually want to go real Groundhog's Day instead of just the movie, I would say something earthier. Earthier, like a hoppy Saison.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Crushed groundhogs in it.
Yeah. Definitely crushed groundhogs. Yep. Okay, I'm loving this one. I'm not even going to limit to summer, but solstices. Summer or the winter solstice.
Black and tan.
For summer and winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going Gruit. Straight up Gruit because I need to make a witch's brew so we can dance naked under the moon.
I was going to say, Gruit is my International Women's Brew Day.
Oh, there you go.
Solstice, it'd be better for Equinox. Black and tans. Equinox or salt,
because they're even both sides.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So and then you can do a tan and black too by making a white beer that's denser than a dark beer, and then vice versa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it here. Hang on. You're gonna love these references. So for the summer solstice, it needs to be a Fireflake beer. Definitely something really hot. Fireflakes would be the best.
All the Avatar.
Winter solstice would probably be something more like a mint cream ale. Get that really cold, like north or
milk stout.
South
actually.
Pole.
I would do a mint milk stout there. By the way, thank you, apartment brewer. Go enjoy your mash-in. Hopefully you hit your OG
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
The Apartment Brewer, everybody, if you haven't checked him out, definitely check out the Apartment Brewer's or the Apartment Brewer's YouTube channel. He does some really awesome stuff, and he does like full grain to glass, and he breaks down everything in terms of why he's thinking about doing the style he's doing, why he's choosing the malt he's doing. He shows you the entire brew day and shows you the finish, and so that's why it's such a fun, entertaining channel to
And
watch.
Thomas,
You are fishing. You are so fishing, Thomas.
Thomas, to answer your question, you should go check out a Facebook page called Emery's Fermentation Project.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have probably explain
They
it
will
to
give you all the information you need right there.
Oh my
I don't know if
gosh.
you've heard of them before, Thomas, but that's the page you want to go check out.
So, Thomas, that is a great question for people that don't know. Gruit is more of an ancient ale. It's basically the definition of it is any beer that you don't really use hops in. The true definition of a gruit is more towards a specific set of herbs for the bitterness, and not. It doesn't necessarily include something like a raw sour. But gruits tend to have things like mugwort, bog myrtle in there. You can use other things like juniper berries or spruce tips to achieve the bittering.
Wormwood.
Wormwood is a good one. It's basically
Basil.
beers that we produced before we started putting hops in.
Dandelion. Dandelion is a good
Dandelion wine is a good thing. Actually.
Yeah, I was going
That's
to say
pretty delicious.
mugwort.
To finish Tim's sentiment, what he's trying to say is gruit basically is a term for all the spices that you add in. The word gruit actually means the spices that you're adding in instead of the hops.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from.
Best-
we
Thomas has been
appreciate
here all
you,
morning, yeah.
Thomas, as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
we
going
do.
to say again, when we're excited for when you open for those
Yeah.
needs and
Oh,
those
definitely.
more ancient beers.
Also bring us beer.
But every single time you come in, bring us beer. Just come in to bring us beer, please.
Yeah, I was going to say, and Thomas, message me because I will gladly do beer exchanges with you.
Ham McVeigh, I want to answer this real quick. Best
Yeah.
beer style to add black licorice candy. That is a very, very pungent candy, and I would say there's two ways that I would go with it. I would go something that's got an intense caramel sweetness to it on the light end of the amber spectrum.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm not going roasts. I'm not going, a lot of like black coffee kind of flavors because I think that can kind of maybe clash. Or I'm going to go something completely like cream ale and just highlight the black licorice by itself.
I was going to say Belgian for me.
Yeah.
A nice Belgian.
Yeah,
I could
some
see.
cloviness going with that.
Yeah. I was
Well,
gonna say
throwing
the
it
kind of
into the
plum with
amber.
the licorice.
Yeah.
Throwing it into the amber range. I mean, you could go into a Dubel, but I think actually a quad would be really delicious with some black licorice, as well as even some spicier, drier beers like Saison could probably hit that really well too.
Yeah.
I was going to say that my personal philosophy is if you think you might be able to figure out how to make it work in a style, do it, because I hate style. So
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so okay. We talked about some solstice beers. Where are we heading with this? Blonde ale, a good base for a braggot? Yeah. Honestly, a lot of things are good bases for a braggot. One thing you have to remember about a braggot is that you are adding a large amount of honey as a fermentable. So everything else you add either needs to be light enough to allow that honey to shine, or needs to be strong enough to last up to the dryness of that beer. If you add only tiny touches of things, they might actually get lost in a braggot because the beer is so thin and dry because of the honey. So you might need to add a little bit more. It's a different balancing act with a braggot. But a blonde ale it's pretty good as a base.
yeah, I was gonna say like I think blonde ale would be a nice base for a braggot. It's either that or you go into the kind of amber range in my opinion for a braggot, but.
Yeah. Amber also goes in, can go into a braggot well. Dark beers can go into a braggot well. Braggot can be a span of almost anything, in all honesty. You just need to realize you need to balance the honey as well as the malts to it. And honey is much, much lighter, more delicate of a flavor. So you can't go too robust on most of your other stuff. Unless, I mean, you're going for a really robust black braggot and then go super robust. So.
Okay, we have a yeast question about Lutra here.
Oh, yeah. So Lutra, it depends on what yeasty flavor you're actually talking about in there. We talked about this earlier in the live stream. A lot of times in Lutra, I have noticed if it is not cleared out, so if you don't crash it and lager it for a pseudo lager, you will actually still get some flavor coming off of it. And for me, it's a little bit funky farmhousey flavor. Not much, just a tiny little touch in there. But we have always noticed that falls completely out once we get the Lutra out of it.
Yeah. And Steve, to answer your question about your Huckleberry Braggot, which actually sounds like a really good flavor combination, if it's starting to taste super sour, just sour it. That's just always my go-to. Is like if it's tasting super sour, throw some Brett in there and just let it go.
Yeah, well, that could be a fix. So Daniel, Rochefort 10, the Rocheforts actually do have a little bit of that licorice in there. Steve, the super bit thin and super tart. So reasons for that being, again, it's a braggot. You're using simple sugars in the honey that's going to super thin it out. The huckleberries, depending on when you added them in there, but most people ferment the sugars. Those are simple sugars that also ferment out very cleanly and very exceptionally. So you're adding more and more, basically, thinness. You're taking away from the body by adding those things. Mm-hmm. The super tartness probably comes from the blackberry in that.
Or huckleberry.
Sorry, huckleberry.
Huckleberry
yeah.
is huckleberry is an interesting berry to use. Which also tells me that Steve is in the Pacific Northwest or inland Northwest, because we're the only area in the whole country that has huckleberries.
Yeah. Well, you could be ordering them from somewhere.
Yeah.
But huckleberries are very tart. A lot of people don't get it when they buy huckleberry flavored items. It always tastes super sweet, and that's just not a huckleberry. It's very, very tart and tannic. Yeah. So you would need to do something in your braggot to help boost some of those sweet ends. A little bit more puffy grains, a little bit more residual sweetness will definitely help you out in that. If it's too thin at the end, pretty much the only thing you can do now is back sweeten. So make sure you fix your beer or pasteurize it, kill the yeast off in some way. Add a little bit of honey and maybe even a little bit of huckleberry juice into the back end to boost that, and you'll grab some sugars out of it. It'll be less thin and acidic.
Okay, he's like 2 hours north of us. Yeah, and also Steve, next time you do the recipe, I would probably add some like flaked grains to help out with the body a little bit, because they help counteract that thinness.
Yeah.
I'm also a big proponent of just flake grains in most beers because I like the body. But I started drinking beers on stouts. So I like big heavy body stouts.
Bruno Dave has a suggestion for you. But yeah, so just that's what we're talking about in braggot. Just realize that honey is a simple sugar. It ferments out really darn dry. So do things to support that or complement it when you can.
Yes, Dave, flaked corn or my go-to is flaked wheat. But that's because that's or flaked oats. I love flaked oats. That's my go-to, is almost always flaked oats first in my mind. But
yeah, I love flaked oats. I actually love flaked rice a lot. Flaked rice does dry out your beer too, but it adds a puffiness to it.
Yeah.
You could do things. I mean, Carapils also adds that. Caramel pills will also add some puffiness to your beer. Oats themselves, actually oat malt. That is something we use for our juicy IPAs all the time, and I love
without
it.
Necessarily that big puff.
Yeah,
so it's really nice.
Oats are such. Like, I think more beer styles could use oats in them. That's just me, but.
All right, I like this holiday Kentucky Derby.
Wait, before that, I want to respond to Bruno Dave. Should combine his love of XC and beer. A local running group in Edinburgh has an annual 7 hills and 7 beers, a 14-mile run up 7 hills with a mandatory pint of beer drunk before each peak. I like that idea. I have done a beer half marathon. I'm convinced I hold the world record for it. Hour 35.
I saw the pictures.
Hour 35 for a beer half marathon. That's 13 beers, 13 miles. And so I love the idea of doing that with a pint of beer on 7 hills, 7 beers.
Which we probably could do in Spokane, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Salty's Flats is right up there.
Yeah.
There's probably a way to go the long way up, chug the pint, the short way down, and then it'd be like every cycle would be like 3
And
miles.
we have enough beer drinking running clubs here in Spokane that we could easily get it in an event.
Oh, we got plenty of people that drink beer and run.
Definitely.
Yeah. Also, Max, golden. The oats that I've fallen in love with in all 4 of my cookie-inspired beers use golden naked roasted oats there.
Not roasted. Golden naked oats and blonde roasted oats. That's what
different-
Matt
yeah,
Stillman
different
is
styles,
talking about. They're very, very similar. It's a naked oat on that, so it's a little bit different than oat malt.
The blonde roasted are just going to be a little bit more cookie-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and I use the golden, and if you guys have blonde, next time I do these, I'll do the blonde.
We have the blonde.
Sweet.
Let's do it side by side. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll make one beer,
Yeah.
you make the other beer.
It's
and then we'll throw the beers at each other.
delicious. Those are great, great, great malts to use. Okay, so Kentucky Derby.
And you had mint, something mint.
Mint julep is the most common Kentucky Derby
drink.
out there. And honestly, I think you could do a really good mint julep beer. But for me, I think honestly, I would probably take something higher mid strength, maybe 6%, maybe even like a beer de garde, something really nice and dry, but it still has a good malty body to it, with some rum aging. I think that would be it, like a rum aged beer de garde. I think that's where I'm going for.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so for me, and we'll get to your super chat here in a moment, Steve. I'm gonna do either a Brett for the kind of a really nice Brett beer for the farmhousey kind of that hay kind of horse blanket taste there, or a mint blonde, something that you can just drink all day.
Nice.
All day, yeah.
Can I mail beer over the border? I might send this
He's probably trying to say Huckleberry Braggot.
Huckleberry Braggot. Okay, thanks for the
Yeah.
suggestion. That sounds amazing.
Yes.
I don't think you legally can.
Yes, no, on certain services you can.
Depends on who
Okay.
you go through.
Yes.
Yeah,
It depends on who you go through. I know, and I do know for a fact, because I have family in the industry who does it, that wineries will send over border lines as long as they are currently distributed over the borders. It's normally just like UPS, and it's a little bit more of a fee. But pretty sure that it can happen. So send us some, please.
Or
Just
I
drive
need
across the border and send it to us.
yeah, or I was gonna say, or I just need to convince these guys to go do a road trip up in Canada and drink a bunch of beers up there.
I do actually, and I know it's probably going to be a little bit of let. It's not going to be what I want, but I do need to drink some puppers. I have to have some.
Jerry.
What? Oh, okay. We got some people coming in.
Close it out.
Yep, we're gonna
All right.
close out. But
Nice
what I'm
subscribe,
hearing
all that
is
stuff.
me and Tim road trip for Genus not brewing.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
'Kay.
Thanks for tuning in. We absolutely love it when you guys do. Subscribe to our regular channel. Subscribe to Genus Not Brewing. Matt does a lot of stuff online. Go check him out, too.
If you look up Bear Puncher Brewing or Bear Puncher Brews on Instagram, that's where you'll find me. I'm not the best at posting, and hopefully I will be starting up a couple other beer Instagram/YouTube projects that these guys have been encouraging me to do for a while.
So, yeah. Peter. Perfect throw. It actually was. So, yeah, subscribe to us. Follow us on all of our good stuff. We loved hanging out with you guys. Felt like it was a nice...
this
felt
was-
like everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was
so.
going to say thank you guys for having me on, and look forward to more fun guests, and also just Tim and Peter being themselves down the road.
Yeah, we will see you
Cheers.
next week. Ba-da-bum-bum-ba-da.